Waiting on the slow internet. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning and welcome. Welcome to Coffee and Conversations with Carol. Yes, welcome. Today is Tuesday and I'm coming to you live from Phoenix, Arizona, where I believe I told you guys I'm going to be down here for a few weeks taking care of my brother. So right now he's in a little procedure. I can't be back there anyways. So I was able to get on today. I'm not going to be able to get on, I don't think, tomorrow. Um, but it's going to be touch and go for a few weeks while we're here because of the way his schedule is made. So I might be getting on a little bit later. I might be getting on a little earlier. I'm not real sure how I'm going to do it. Or you might just see me posting and give you some morning encouragements and morning thoughts. That's what I'm leaning more toward. But I wanted to just jump on a few minutes early to let you guys know that I am still here. I'm not going anywhere. Um, and that I wasn't on yesterday because I was in flight. But good morning to you. So I'm going to wait for some people to come in. I don't see anybody anywhere at this time, but it's okay because guess what? I'm cool with that. I am so cool with that. I hope everybody weekend went good. I was like really bummed. I couldn't hear about what people did over the weekend on Monday. And I hope people had a marvelous Monday. You know, Monday could be slow motion or it could be popping off. It just all depends um, on what you're doing. But Mondays can definitely be an either or situation depending on what you're doing. This has definitely been different, having to go through this. What do I want to say? When you're dealing with a loved one and their illness, it definitely have you reflecting on things that matter. It definitely have you reflecting on things that matter. And so me and my brother has been having some conversations and he brought up a lot of stuff. And I was like, oh, that's a good question. Oh, that's a good question. And one of the things he was saying was that we were talking about just being who you are. And when people say I'm being who I am, it's different for each person, right? And also, sometimes I told him, even if you are a person who's changed, because he was talking about all the stuff he's been through, a lot of times, chat disconnected, please wait while we try to reconnect, successfully connected. Yeah, because it looked like it's going to be popping in and out, some slow connection here, but that's okay. A lot of times when we change and we aspire to be different, doesn't mean other people change and that they aspire to be different. A lot of times people walk around holding on to the past. They hold on to past hurts. They hold on to past letdowns, disappointments. Uh, they hold on to anger, unforgiveness. They hold on to uh, fear and guilt. It's a lot of things people hold on to. Um, and so, even though whoever, individuals, whoever, decide to change, that doesn't mean the person that was in that situation or circumstance is ready to change. Okay. So we have to remember, again, to meet people where they are. Doesn't mean we have to engage with them, but we can meet people where they are. Also, we have to remember that some people are never going to allow you to change in their mind. I think about myself sometimes. I've said some things, I've did some things that probably were not always correct. Even past success keeps you in a space. Yes, past success does keep you in a space. It really does. Um, but people won't allow you to be different. And good morning, my Libra sister. Good morning. I ain't had no coffee. I'm just up. But yes, past success does keep you in a space. I would definitely agree with that because here's the thing about past success. If you've had it before, but you don't have it now, sometimes you feel like you're not worthy of it. Sometimes you feel like, guess what? It's just not for me. Sometimes you feel like you feel disappointed in yourself. So I would totally agree with that. Past success does hold you in a space. So good morning. And today's topic is this. You know, have you ever heard people say we are what we eat? You know how people say that you are what you eat, and so then people look at their plate and they're wondering what they're eating. Is it pork? Is it beef? Is it vegetables? Is it, good stuff eating? Are we drinking a lot of soda? Are we, what am I thinking of? Are we doing too much liquor intake? Not enough water intake. We are what we eat, right? And I took that thought and I said, what are you eating? What are you eating? And I'm not talking about physically, like I eat bananas and grapes, but what are you eating? It goes back to how me and my brother was talking today about where you are. What are you eating? And what are you feeding yourself? You see what I'm saying? Because they're all the things. What are you feeding your mind? What are you eating? What are you eating? Here's the thing. And I thought about this. People are eating doubt. They're eating fear. They're eating guilt. They're eating hurt. They're eating pain. And they're eating anger. They are eating these things that are causing them to be in a space of resentment, disappointment, unforgiveness, just in the past. People are living in the past. Yes, what are you feeding your mind is huge. The weekend talk ourselves out of we can talk ourselves out of a lot. Yeah, we definitely can talk ourselves out of a lot because we're feeding our minds something that is not needed. It's like having an eating disorder. There's several eating disorders. And when you have an eating disorder, the problem is you're eating to gain weight, right? And when you have an eating disorder that gains weight, you're normally just eating. You don't think about the calories. You don't think about any of that. I remember my foster brother who passed away years ago, my homie Jerry. Uh, um, my homie Jerry, he had an eating disorder called Willie Perret. And he was eating. And hold on, y'all. Somebody was reminding me that it's 8:30 at home and am I doing the podcast? And I'm like, yes, I'm on right now. Um, Thanks for fixing that, Libra sister. No problem. He had a Willie Perret, so he would eat. He had the chromosome that was missing that caused him to eat all the time. That caused him to eat all the time. Then you have the eating disorder where people are bulimic. They eat, but then they throw it all back up. They eat, then they throw it all back up. So when you think about your mind and you think about what you're feeding it, what you're eating to make sure your mind is healthy, think about eating disorders, okay? And if there's a lot of eating disorders, I just want to put it out there, but those are the two that I brought up. But there are a lot of this. Can you imagine if you are eating positivity, determination, aspiration, forgiveness, and prayer, and then go in a corner after you eat it and then spit it all out? And then spit it all out. You eat it and then you give it all back. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you eat all of that good stuff for yourself and then give it all back? Why? Why are people doing that? Could you imagine eating where you can't stop and all you're eating is fear, guilt, anger, hurt, pain, and you're just building, 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 building. So you're so big on all of that stuff. You know, in the Bible it says, and I'm gonna not quote it correctly because I'm not gonna quote it correctly because I don't know it like that, but I do know it goes along the line of so a man thinketh, so he is. And we have to start knowing that attached to so a man thinketh, so he is whatever we feed our minds. That's what it is. So if you're feeding your mind unforgiveness, you're an unforgiving person. You have no forgiveness in your heart. You have nothing in your heart to give. I heard something this past weekend that says people choose to to forgive who they want to forgive. But you can't choose to forgive who you want to forgive. If forgiveness is there, then forgiveness is there. Because you can't be forgiven on one end and unforgiven on the other end. It doesn't work that way. Forgiveness is forgiveness. Forgiveness doesn't always mean reconciliation either. I get that. But forgiveness is forgiveness. And here's the thing about forgiveness, too, while we're talking about it. When you truly forgive, you don't talk about the stuff no more. In this book that I'm reading, Forgiving What I Can't Forget, one of the things she talks about in that book is that some things have to be walked out. It has to be walked out and worked out. Otherwise, guess what state you stay in? Chaos. So if you're not walking and working it out, you're in a chaotic state. Oh, okay. Thanks for that. Sister Pooh said it is Proverbs 23:7, in case anybody wants to read it, about the so a man is, so he thinketh. Okay. So we are talking about today. We are talking about what we are. The question was, we are what we eat. And so what are you eating? On today's Tuesday Thoughts, what are you eating? And I'm talking about mentally. Physically, we probably need to do better too, with healthier choices and healthier doing. But what are we eating? We have to learn, like, as we go through these days and times in this journey called life, that we are making life what it is. We are making, good morning, sister. Good morning. We are making life what it is. So what are we eating? We are what we eat. And on today, I choose to eat determination. I choose to eat aspirations. I choose to eat prayer. I choose to eat forgiveness. I choose to eat joy. I choose to eat peace. These are the things that we should be eating. We should be, what do you call it? Replacing these things with all that other stuff, because a lot of times, and like I said, folks have eating disorders. This is the problem. And I know I'm equating it and it's an analogy, but think about it. We are what we eat. What are people eating? And because people are eating these things, they literally are in a state of having an eating disorder. They're sitting around eating doubt and fear. So, they're getting up every day, not knowing what to do, how they're going to make it, where they're going to go, is it going to work out? That's because they didn't sit there and they ate so much doubt. They don't know which way to go. You got people who are eating guilt every day. They don't know, they guilty about everything, just feeling guilty about stuff. That's how they go through their life every day. And then you have people who are eating this stuff, and then they say, you know what, I want to be better. And then they go and they eat all of the stuff I just named, like prayer, forgiveness, because they want to be better. But then they have an eating disorder, the bulimic one. And then they go throw it all up. They don't want to keep it. And those people that's throwing it up, you know how you have somebody in your life and you're eating, you have good morning, sister, you have an eating disorder. And I'm talking about the mind. When I say eating disorder, I'm talking about the mind. I'm talking about the mind. And you eat good stuff because in your circle, you should have someone to give you good things to eat, okay? It's enough people in the world to feed you something bad, right? So you should have somebody in your circle to feed you good things. And when you don't have somebody in your circle to feed you good things, the only thing you're eating is that toxicity and that trauma, that hurt, that pain, and that guilt. But then when you have someone that comes along to feed you that forgiveness and that aspiration and that determination, you're just like a person with an eating disorder like bulimic. You go throw it all up. You eat it and then you throw it all up. Good morning. We are talking about we are what we eat, and we're talking about the mind. Okay. So some people's mind have an eating disorder. They have an eating disorder. So what are you eating? What are you eating? I have determined that I'm going to eat prayer, peace, joy, forgiveness. What are you eating? What are you eating? Because these things are sustainable. You need substance. You can't survive and off of guilt and anger. Those are not sustainable things. Those things are not sustainable. So we are what we eat. Tuesday Thoughts, we are what we eat. So what are you eating? What are you eating? Where's Sister Pooh put? Um, Proverbs 23:7, in case anybody wants to read it. So a man thinketh, so he is. True story. This is why it's necessary to have people in your life that feed you truth. Exactly. It's definitely needed. And here's the thing. I will be the first to say you probably don't always want to hear it. Um, but you need someone like that. And what I've learned, I call it this when I'm talking to my children. You need an accountability partner. Okay. You need someone that's going to hold you accountable for the things that you say and for the things that you do. Whether they're holding you accountable for the good things or whether they're holding you accountable for the bad things that you said or that you did. You need an accountability partner. Someone that's going to pull your coattail and tell you, "Hey, that ain't good. Hey, maybe you should think about that." Because when you got somebody that just keeps, I'm telling you, it's going to leave you in a state of chaos, a state of chaos. And you're going to remain with that eating disorder. Yes, these are Tuesday thoughts. People have an eating disorder. And I know when people see this later, they're going to be thinking, oh, eating disorder. Yeah, I'm talking about your mind. The same way you have an eating disorder physically, where people have it, your mind has an eating disorder. Sister Tina says, I have been eating disappointment, but I declare today I will not continue to feed on that. There you go. She has been eating disappointment, but she declares she's not going to eat it anymore. You know what I've been eating? Guilt. Guilt. And every time I hear something about this, this certain situation, I start eating guilt. But no, no more. Because guess what? Here's the thing. I have forgiven myself. And I've forgiven myself, so I no longer have to eat guilt. I'm not going to eat it. And guess what else? I'm not going to make nobody else make me feel guilty about anything either. No, 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 no. You can't make me feel guilty about no choices that I made in the past. Because guess what? That's why it's called the past. Why are we even back there? Why? I don't even know why you're back there. Why? You don't even have to be back there. Good morning. Hey, cousin, love you too. We are talking about we are what we eat. We are what we eat. And yes, I have toned it down just a little. I'm at the cancer center, so I don't want to be screaming loud. I had no coffee, and it's early out here in Arizona. Early out here in Arizona. But we are what we eat. We are what we eat. So what are you eating? What are you? Happy birthday to you. It's my cousin's birthday. Her name Tina too. And it's her birthday. And she was like, it's my birthday today. Happy birthday, Cuzzo. What are you eating today? I hope you eating fun. I hope you definitely eating another year of life. So that's a blessing. So you eating blessings on blessings on blessings, thankfulness, peace, joy, happiness. Yes, happy birthday. So what are you eating? I have been eating complacency with my job. You've been eating complacency. So what can we replace that complacency with? What can we replace that complacency with? We got to find something to replace that with, because you've been eating complacency and it has to do with work. So we have to find what we can replace that complacency with. I think we can replace complacency with aspirations, some goals, and we also can replace it with some determination. That's what I believe. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining me. We are talking about we are what we eat. So, what are you eating? We are talking about we are what we eat. What are you eating? All right. What are you eating for yourself, your mind? Your mind. We're talking about feeding the mind. Feeding the mind. What are you feeding the mind? What are you eating? Because if we are what we eat, we want to be eating some good stuff. Okay. Uh, I'm eating blessings. I'm eating it all. Nothing but positivity, abundance, and peace. Yes. What are we eating today? We are what we eat. I'm actually replacing it with completion, moving on to something I actually want to do. I love that. I am replacing complacency with completion, moving on to something I actually want to do. I actually like that. I really like. I love that actually. I love that. I like that. All right. So Sister Pooh is replacing complacency with completion. We have Sister Tina, she was eating disappointment, but she declares today she will no longer continue to feed on that. We can replace complacency with belief. You are more than where you are. I believe that. Yep, I love that too. You are more than what you are. I'm going to the movies by myself today, going to Starbucks to get my free coffee and have fun later. Hey, I'm mad at you. So you do you. It's your birthday. I want you to do what you want to do on your birthday. Everybody don't always want to party on their birthday. You want to go have Starbucks and go to the movies yourself. I think that's wonderful. You are what we eat. I ain't gonna say you, I'm gonna make it a collective thing. We are what we eat. What are you eating today? What are you feeding yourself today? What are you feeding? I love these. Someone was feeding their self disappointment. They're done with that. Someone was feeding their self complacency. They're done with that. I was feeding myself guilt. I'm done with that. Okay. I'm not going to be feeding myself guilt no more. You know what else? Sometimes people like to feed themselves. And here's the thing, you cannot change anyone. People have to be willing to want to change on their own. Okay. You can't change anyone. People have to be willing to change on their own. Okay. People have to want to change. And you can pray about it. You can want it and will it for them. But until that person individually wants to change, they're not going to. So just remember, you see someone and they're eating and have an eating disorder because they're eating things that are not good for them. You can share with them what they probably should be eating, but that person too has to want to eat it on their own. They have to want to eat it on their own. I love that. You are more than where you are. I believe that. You have to want to eat it on your own. So these are good feedback today. I believe his appointment is wrapping up. So I have to get back downstairs. Came on a little early, but I wanted to touch bases with you guys because I miss everybody. I don't know about tomorrow, but just remember, if you don't see me, it's going to be some postings up for thoughts for the week. Remember, we are what we eat. And the question is, what are you eating? And I love that today we are getting rid of disappointment. We're getting rid of complacency. We're getting rid of guilt. We're eating blessings and we're eating positivity, abundance, and peace. We're even eating determination, aspirations, prayer, and forgiveness because we know that those things are sustainable and you need things to sustain your mind, okay? Because you have to have something to keep it alive and moving, all right? Your affirmation for today is I can let go of things I can't change. And another thing is, I forgive myself for mistakes I made and I refuse to hold them against myself. All right. I want you guys to live, love, never ever stop laughing, but always find room to forgive. I started feeding my grandchildren a new word every morning, just a simple word, and they needed to find a way to incorporate that in a good way throughout their school day. I love that. I love that word of the day. I love that. You know, you're giving me ideas, right? Word of the day. So I want you guys to remember it, okay? Live, love, never stop laughing. Always find room to forgive. All right. And just remember one love. You know, if everybody find room to love, what a better place this would be. Take those thoughts for today. We are what we eat. And if you see somebody with an eating disorder, I want you to pull them to the side, kind of give them a word, okay? Because we can fix a whole lot of stuff if we can fix our minds. All right. So a man thinketh, so a man is. Thank you for joining Coffee and Conversations with Carol every day at 8:30 to 9. Love you guys. You guys have a great day. Let me go be a caretaker. Bye-bye.